Hello and welcome back to the Villa Filler podcast. I'm here as always with my good friend Dan Wiseman. Dan, last time round, we were really chuffed about the comments, weren't we, on the preview and on the match reaction. So many nice comments, 3 wins on the bounce. I don't think we stopped smiling in the post-Leeds reaction, which is impressive considering how late it was as well. And it's completely different this time around because Aston Villa have lost away from home. But before we get into that, mate, how you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad. Could have been better with a win, but I think as we're getting to in today's show, not all doom and gloom, is it?
No, I don't think so. But, guys, before we do get into all of that stuff, we do have a message from today's video sponsors, OneFootball. Dan, have you ever wanted an app that collates all the scores and news from your favourite teams in the whole of Europe, Dan? Have you ever wanted that?
It's a constant need of mine, mate, because there's always news. That's the thing, is that we love this game. We love the industry of football because it's ever-changing, mate, and you need a place to keep up with it all.
And we have that place exactly for you
sure
guys. It's OneFootball. Guys, this app is it's life-changing.
It's great because I actually I use it. So it's great because it's where I pull the stats from for the podcast. So it's like there's all that new stuff as well, but you can track all of the players' stats from like across Europe for all the different leagues, for continental football as well. It's a dream. It's a dream. And the best part, mate, is it's free.
It's free, and guys, it would help support the channel massively if you check that OneFootball using the link in the description down below. We promise you guys won't be disappointed. Guys, if you haven't checked out OneFootball, make sure you do so using the top link in the description. It's a very good app. I've read it on the tube on the way back to the car, all that kind of stuff. Fantastic place to keep you updated with everything going on in football, not just Aston Villa. But yeah, I mean, Dan, I think we're feeling fairly optimistic about this one. And I think, again, I don't want to sit here and go, oh, look at us, we were right in the preview. There was a lot of calls for 4-3-3 to return, wingers, maybe change things up a little bit, drop Danny Ings. You'll never hear me utter them words, I don't think, but you guys know I love Ings. We're the Danny Ings fan club on this podcast. And it was an unchanged 11, mate. We see Lucas Dean didn't even last 10 minutes or so, I don't think, coming off it with what looked like a hamstring injury. But same as Thursday night against Leeds, which in theory, side won 3-0, convincing performance away from home. But the reality of making a decision where you name an unchanged starting 11 only a mere 3 days, I guess it's not even 3, it's probably more 2.5 when you consider travelling, recovery, that kind of stuff, is probably a decision that came to bite Villa in this game, Dan, because whilst on the whole, I think Villa were competitive and were in this game for large portions of it, the same energy levels just weren't there. And I don't want to use it as a massive excuse because these guys were in Seville on Thursday as well, and it wasn't their finest hour, no. But again, I didn't particularly think West Ham were brilliant in this game either, Dan.
No, I didn't really feel like either team were, to be honest with you. It's like one of them where, I've really given Stevie a lot of... I think if I've learned anything in that little run that we had, mate, where we put a few wins together, is that, like, as far as lineups go, we really just need to trust the guys making the shots, because at both Brighton and Southampton, there were faces and names in the 11 that we thought, really? Southampton at home, it was like, where's Cancer? Where's Dean? I can't remember what the call was at Brighton. I think it was obviously the return of Ings and Watkins. We were like, and every time we got proved wrong. I think we both spoke about the fact we'd like to see a few changes. I think we mentioned Morgan Sanson, and stuff like that. But when I saw the unchanged lineup for exactly the reason I've just mentioned, mate, I was sort of like, okay, you know what? Stevie's shown me over the past month or so that I really don't know what I'm talking about as far as starting 11, because it's so dependent on how the boys have been training and everything like that. I think, hindsight is a beautiful thing. And I think we look back and think, yeah, maybe we could have But as I said, I mean, Stevie, certainly from the starting 11 that he's been picking, has got it spot on in recent weeks. But yeah, I think maybe we look back and now, and perhaps we need a little bit of freshness in there. I think maybe the boys did tire a little bit as we got onto the second half. But yeah, I think you're on the balance, mate. I think, as I said, with hindsight, we'd look back and maybe we'd switch a couple of things up. But yeah, I think I agree with you in that it didn't really feel like that was where we lost this game. It didn't really feel like that was the excuse today, so to speak. No. I just think it was. It's hard to say a bit of an off day because it wasn't really we didn't play badly. We just didn't play as well as we'd seen, and I think. Unfortunately, when you get dragged into that sort of punch for punch, attack for attack kind of game with a side like West Ham, it's very rare that many teams in the league will come out on top, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think we saw that in their Wolves game a few weeks ago as well. If end to end does really suit West Ham. And I think, again, the game, I don't want to say it was lost in the midfield because I don't necessarily think it was a horrendous, an awful performance by the midfield whatsoever. And I think, as we pointed out in the preview, I was more than happy for the Diamond to come into play to really look to try to nullify your Součeks and your Rices in that team, who are fantastic. And today, them two proved to be the difference, didn't they, Dan? The difference is having a really quality midfielder. And I think ultimately, Villa were trading punches, Dan, with a very physical side who, not only are they physical, but they're tall as well. There's a real presence to West Ham that Villa lack. And if anything, again, that's just kind of highlighted the kind of profile of midfielder we need. And listen, I'm not going to sit here and say Tim Arogabunam. I think I've been pronouncing his name wrong. Correct me in the comments, guys. I'm very sorry about that. I'm not going to sit here and say Tim's the answer because that is ridiculous. But I am calling into question again, I think, the tactical changes from Steven Gerrard, because whilst taking Douglas Luiz off, who wasn't having a brilliant game, I'm not going to sit here and say he was fantastic because I would be lying to you guys straight through my teeth. But to take your holding midfielder off in favour of Emi Buendia, who, was blown hot and cold. He's not been in the starting 11. He's finding it difficult to kind of come on and make something happen with the limited game time that he's got. It didn't make a lot of sense to me. And it's that substitution, Dan, that cost us the Watford game. And I know at this point, Villa were already trailing. We're already 1-0 down at this point. And I guess with how late the goals came, it almost became I guess we just throw whatever at the wall and see what sticks. But I am starting to question that because, you can't just say, inshallah, put all your attackers on and hope for the best. Like that isn't how it works. There was no balance to the team when that happened. And of course, not to discredit Emi because he worked so tenaciously to get that assist for Jacob Ramsey's stunning goal, which again, another wonderful goal from Jacob Ramsey in the capital that has been marred by a fairly average performance and disappointing scoreline. It just didn't make a lot of sense to me. Villa weren't balanced, and that's where the second goal comes from as well. Not only, I can't remember, I'm getting my goals confused, but I know Leon Bailey certainly didn't do a lot for himself today, coming on and going down as easily as he did in the build-up for one of the goals. But Villa were here, there, and everywhere. And again, it's kind of coming across more as a rant, and I don't necessarily intend it to, but for all the goodwill in the world I have towards Ashley Young, Lucas Dean on the pitch, you're maybe looking at the second goal. I don't want to say not happening, but you've got a defender who's going to be able to get back into a much better defensive position. No Ash slander, I love him, but he hasn't got the legs. He was nowhere to be seen. And again, with how unbalanced that midfield is, Dan, it didn't lend itself to anything. And I appreciate I've just rambled a lot to you, mate. So I'm going to pass over to you and pick up with whatever you want.
Mate, I think, we did miss Luca Dean. I think that's one thing that I'll definitely take away from this game is that, we really did miss that dynamicism. And as you said, mate, you realise perhaps what he offers going backwards as well, because he's got a recovery run in him that perhaps Ashley Young doesn't, as we saw. I think we've seen a lot of performances today, and you never want to say that you need a win, but once you get into a habit of name it and change 11s, you have to stick by that gun. Do you know what I mean? You can't be like, okay, we won 2 games, we'll name someone change 11, then you win a game and you make 5 changes. It's a pattern that you generally seem to keep. And I think we perhaps need it now. We've lost a game and it opens up a lot of avenues. I thought JJ was one of our better players today. Obviously capped it off with a nice goal. So it'd be interesting to see, what happens with Sanson. Obviously, it opens the door for Concert to maybe come back into the team. Now, not that Chambers, particularly, I'm not saying he had a bad game or anything like that, but there's a pecking order there, let's be honest. And a loss allows us to reset that, basically. It would be interesting to see whether we go back to the 4-3-3. I think, honestly, mate, I think we just lost to a team it just felt like a team that are 10 points further above us in the league. They're they're more complete outfit that they have, just because of the nature of their seasons and how long they've had David Moyes. There's more of a identity. We're still crafting that under Gerrard. There's more of a game plan there. I think, mate, we just have to sort of take a step back and say, look how much better we were in this game than to when they came to Villa Park earlier on in the season. Yeah. I think that's the greatest metric on which to judge this. It's like we went toe-to-toe with these guys who are, let's be honest, a better team than us at the moment. The table will tell you that. They're more consistent, which I think is the big deal. And I think they bounced us 4-1 at Villa Park, absolutely no problems. And for large parts of the game today, we went toe-to-toe. And I think, I don't want to say we're unfortunate to come away with the defeat because, they made more of their chances than we did. Though we had more shots, more possession, and stuff like that, more corners. So we had chances of their own. I just think they felt more dangerous in the final third. But on the whole, I think it allows us now to sort of go back to the drawing board, which perhaps we needed. It's brought us back down to earth. We go back on the road. We stay in London. Arsenal come to Villa, don't they? They come to Villa. So it's more London opposition for Villa. Quick turnaround, early kickoff on the Saturday. I think all attention goes to that, mate. It really did feel like on to the next one after this. It's no reason for meltdowns, no big criticisms. As you said, a couple of things which I think Stevie's learned in his tactics and his changes and everything like that. But on the whole, it's another decent performance. We've lost to a good team. Many teams have lost to West Ham this season. And all focus now needs to be on that early kickoff on Saturday, mate.
Yeah, final away game in London finally out of the way as well. Another loss in the third kit. Many taboos ending, hopefully.
Indeed.
But yeah, I mean, the majority of them shots and stuff came from after the 2 goals. And it almost feels criminal that we're wrapping up the podcast without really touching on JJ's goal because it's fantastic. It's stunning. Yeah. If Fabianski does not have a second to move, it is a fantastic goal. And it really feels like we were robbed of that sort of celebration in the away end. And I must have watched it back about 50 times before coming on air, mate, because it is fantastic. And Jacob Ramsey, top goal scorer for Aston Villa this season. That's all you need to know about our season. That is an indictment on us. And I guess
that's a good thing and a bad thing at the same time, isn't it?
It's both. But I mean, Ings has a really good chance that's kind of tipped onto the posts. There's the opportunity from Coutinho in the first half as well, where JJ dribbles past the 4 players. Coutinho tries to get a back heel on the go, on another day. Could happen. I'm frustrated, I'm upset, I'm annoyed. But, on the balance of play, I don't think there was ever a draw in this game. Villa, as I said at the top of the podcast, mate, Villa remain competitive for large portions, stupid tactical change, and some what if defending from, let's be honest, some players who aren't regulars. That's kind of been the difference in a quality midfield. So Arsenal at home, mate, that's going to be another game where it's going to be very tough. I'm not expecting us to win at all, but we'll be back to preview that one in a few days' time. So don't you guys worry about that. Hope you all, everyone who was there, had a great day. I know the stadium's crap, the atmosphere was awful, but the day is always fun. So hopefully you guys all got back safe or enjoyed wherever you watched the game. And yeah, we'll see you guys soon for the Arsenal preview. So up Villa.